Welcome to The Explainer. So, just last week, I found myself staring at a completely blank laptop screen at 11 p.m. I had this major project deadline looming, and I could feel this literal, physical weight just pressing down on my chest. It's a universally relatable reality, right? Almost every single one of us knows that overwhelming feeling of being mentally and physically stretched to our absolute limits. We have all been there. So today, we're going under the hood. We're going to use the latest psychological research to unlock the mind and understand exactly what stress is, why it happens, and most importantly, how we can actually manage it. Think about sitting at your desk, just staring at a ticking clock as a deadline gets closer and closer. Or maybe it's that tight feeling in your stomach when you open up a digital bank statement on your phone and the numbers are, well, not quite what you hoped for. Why do those specific moments feel so entirely overwhelming? It's not just in your head. It's a physical reaction, a mental fog, and a heavy emotional weight all tied together. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know the exact science behind those intensely personal, high-pressure moments.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll decode daily stress, look at 4 modern stress triggers, uncover the hidden power of eustress, explore what happens when stress becomes distress, and wrap up with science-backed management tools.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, decoding daily stress. Let's step into a familiar day-in-the-life scenario to see how psychology defines that overwhelming feeling you get when you're just trying to survive your routine. You see, staring at that ticking clock and feeling totally paralyzed, that is rarely caused by just one isolated factor. Psychologically speaking, our daily overwhelm is actually a complex combination of very familiar variables. You aren't just stressed about the clock itself, you're stressed because of the compounding weight of literally everything else surrounding it. It's an accumulation. Which brings us perfectly to section 2, 4 modern stress triggers. Let's look at 4 distinct areas of life that act as the sort of familiar villains of our day. At 9 a.m., you sit down and boom, you're immediately hit with workplace pressure. Maybe it's a massive, unmanageable stack of papers or a really strict deadline. Then, by 12 p.m., you're dealing with interpersonal friction. You have a tense conversation, maybe you're navigating some difficult family dynamics or a weird disagreement with a friend. The pressure just keeps building up. And the day just keeps spiraling, right? By 5 p.m., work is over, but now you're facing financial strain. You're reviewing that bank statement, trying to figure out a budget, and dealing with the anxiety of unexpected expenses. And all of these daytime triggers bleed right into the night. By 12 a.m., when you should be getting some deep rest, you are instead crushed by future uncertainty. You're lying awake carrying this massive cognitive load, just agonizing over what comes next. It's a relentless cycle, and the science shows us exactly why it feels so incredibly heavy. But here's where things get interesting. Section 3, the hidden power of eustress. Get ready for a fascinating psychological plot twist. Stress is not actually inherently negative. Enter eustress. This is positive stress. Think back to a time when a really important exam was coming up, or you were about to give a major presentation. That acute, short-term stress response you felt in your gut, it was actually actively sharpening your focus, enhancing your cognitive function, and giving you the motivation you needed to perform at your absolute best. Psychology tells us this is an evolutionary survival mechanism. It is literally biologically designed to protect us and push us forward. Just picture an athlete on a track. They're crouching down, completely focused, absolutely energized, just waiting for the starting pistol to fire. That intense electric feeling right before the race begins, that is eustress. It's an incredible short-term motivational advantage that floods the body with energy so we can tackle the challenge right in front of us. But of course, what goes up must come down. Section 4, when stress becomes distress.
When stress doesn't naturally fade away and instead becomes a constant companion, it transforms into distress. This is chronic stress over prolonged periods, and it takes a severe toll. This is no longer that helpful burst of energy before a big race. This is a prolonged state that actively drains our bodies and just completely exhausts our minds. It happens when that helpful evolutionary survival mechanism gets stuck in the on position and won't switch off. When we compare the two side by side, the difference is just staggering. Eustress gives you sharp focus, motivation, and protection. But when left unchecked, that exact same biological tool turns destructive. It results in chronic fatigue, severe irritability, and total exhaustion. We are looking at a stark contrast here between peak human performance and a severe, damaging biological toll. To put it in a way we can all definitely relate to, distress feels exactly like watching your internal battery drain to 0%.
When you're tossing and turning at night, unable to sleep because of the compounded stress of work, relationships, and money, your internal battery is literally just leaking power until there is absolutely nothing left in the tank.
And the science backs up exactly what that 0% battery looks like in real life. The physical consequences? We're talking tension headaches, incredibly poor sleep quality, and even a weakened immune system, which is why you might get sick more often when you're overwhelmed. Psychologically, it causes heightened irritability, deep emotional exhaustion, and a complete lack of concentration. You literally can't focus because your brain is too depleted to function properly. This is exactly why learning to manage stress isn't just some nice self-care luxury, it is an absolute biological necessity.
So, how do we fix it? Section 5. Science-backed stress management.
This is the most empowering part of the whole puzzle, taking our control back. Now, the key thing to remember is that managing stress is about behavior modification. We aren't trying to eliminate human emotion entirely, that's impossible, but we can use scientifically proven steps to manage it. First, prioritize structured breaks throughout your day to physically step away from that ticking clock. Second, engage in regular physical exercise. This actually helps your body process all that excess adrenaline. And third, practice mindfulness. Honestly, for me, just taking a 10-minute walk outside without looking at my phone completely resets my own distress response. These simple, everyday actions actively signal to your brain that it is safe to finally switch off those alarm bells.
At the end of the day, stress is and always will be a totally natural part of the human experience. We actually need it to survive, and as we've seen, we need it to thrive. But the defining question is this: will you let it control your life? By understanding the psychology behind your daily overwhelm, recognizing your personal triggers, and utilizing science-backed management tools, you have the incredible power to recharge your battery and take your life back. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you next time.